You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey guys, welcome to another Friday episode of Cards to the Moon. This is episode 75. My name is Clark, and you can find me on Instagram at 5cardguys. And with me co-hosting is Hyung, who is Integrity Sports Cards on Instagram, and John, who is Trade You at Recess. Now, later in this episode, we'll be playing an interview I had recently with custom card maker and artist Piggy Banks. That's spelled B-A-N-X. But before we get to that interview, just off the top, there was a bit of news that came out a couple of days after we recorded last week's show, which featured just Hyung and myself. And that, of course, is the news that Fernando Tatis Jr. was tested positive for a PED, which he said he took it to treat ringworm and wasn't aware that it was on the banned list of substances.
Oh boy.
Yeah, a lot of people are weighing in with their thoughts and opinions, so I think we should chime in as well. First, guys, your initial thoughts when you heard the news, and second, what are you doing with his baseball cards?
I think everybody is a little disappointed, to say the least, because I mean Tatis is such a staple for baseball. He sells tickets at the end of the day, and you have a lot of kids looking up to a guy like that, and not saying that he should be doing this for others, but that's a couple, I guess, whammies against him over the past year that
Right.
that could have been, I guess, showing his immaturity. I just hope, for the sake of baseball, for the sake of his career, that he learns from this. And I know there's a lot of, I guess, back and forth with cards in terms of his cards, because a lot of people are off his cards. You see the market already tanking. So obviously I believe in his talent, but it's not a good look for him. It's definitely gonna affect his card prices from kind of like that elite everybody's chasing to a lot of people are unsure.
Right.
I don't think anybody doubts his talent, but you look at examples like Alex Rodriguez, how that affected his even the love he gets in the hobby still, to this day. So I don't know exactly if it's going to happen to Tatis, because I still believe that he's young, he makes mistakes, and no one knows the full story at the end of the day, right? So I'm not a person that is all of a sudden panic selling him, because I enjoy his talent. I believe in him as a player, and I'm a true collector, like PC of Tatis, right? So not saying I'm gonna go dump more money into him. It's definitely
Right.
buying with caution, but I'm definitely looking for a deal eventually in the next probably 12 months, I'd say. Maybe a little less, because 80 game suspension is a pretty hefty suspension. So yeah.
Do you care at all about the chatter about his Hall of Fame chances? I know he's a young kid, he's 23, but there's that talk about
that's
anyone that's been guilty of PEDs automatic. Barry Bonds can't get in, right?
0 for 63, I believe.
Right.
That's the stats on who gets into the Hall of Fame. With I guess people who test positive, but that's the thing. You look at guys like Ortiz. Controversial. Nothing was proven positive at the time when he was being tested. It was kind of like I don't know what it was, but it wasn't like, I guess, official individual testing. But there's, in that era, everybody was taken. I shouldn't say everybody, because I'm
It's
a lot
more common.
And you know what? Now that I think about it, I was thinking about this earlier. When I was playing in the minor leagues, that was 2003 I signed. 04, 05. I remember guys were, I mean, no shame. Like you see it all around the game, and you kind of scratch your head. And for me, it's a morality thing, and it goes, not to get into the whole steroids debate, but I definitely had a different input on that earlier in my career, like when I was younger. So it was right in that steroid era where I was like, it's cheating at the end of the day, and that's what sucks about it. But like it's only those who get caught, right? Where's the fine line right now? Because I could guarantee you there's Hall of Famers that were on something at one point of their career. They just happened not to test positive just because, they were unlucky. It's essentially they basically, I guess it's the risk you take, right? So it's a whole different, topic. But yeah, I just, it's tough. It's when it comes down to that.
Sure. Johnny, what do you think?
Yeah. When we heard the news break, I think I'm with Hyung. The one word is disappointed, like incredibly disappointed. And there's so many layers to the disappointment. You can be disappointed as a true Tatis fan, which a lot of people are. You could be disappointed as a sports car collector. You could be disappointed as a baseball fan. He is huge to the game of baseball. He's like the next Ken Griffey Jr. He was the face on video games. People loved watching him. He was, even in opposing fields and enemy territory, even everyone loved Tatis. He was like just endeared by all. So the sentiment, which is, the silver lining in the sentiment of disappointment, is actually probably a good thing, because you're not really hearing much about cheater. He's a cheater. He's a scam. Look at him. It's more about disappointment, which really proves how many people truly was not just collecting because of investment. They truly liked Tatis. Like Tatis was bringing people to the game of baseball. So this one, now that we've had a couple of days now to kind of munch on it and absorb the news, I really think it's going to be a bit of an interesting case study, if we want to call it that, in terms of what's going to happen with Tatis, will fans take him back? How are his card prices going to do? I think of people who did some not so great stuff early in their careers, right? If you look at, some of these Hall of Famers that got caught with PDs or whatever, that was towards the end of their career, almost at the finish line. And that kind of painted their entire career with a negative brush, right? So I think kind of like was what Hyung was saying, Tatis cards, base cards, things that are pretty readily available, even expensive stuff. Yeah, we're going to see a huge dip right now. But I don't know. I don't feel like there should be as much overreaction as there is. I'm actually pretty, maybe I'm just being this naive, blinded Tatis fan, but I truly don't think it will be as bad as people think. There's still tons of Tatis collectors. There's still tons of people that love Tatis. That's why you don't hear the word cheater. You hear the word disappointed. And when he comes back, I think he'll still generally be pretty well accepted. Now, there are people that maybe didn't care about Tatis, but was in it for the investment. Those guys are probably starting to slip away and maybe long gone forever, depending on if Tatis comes roaring back or whatever. It may take those people quite a bit to kind of get back into Tatis cards. But I think when it's time for Tatis cards to come and go back upwards or price recovering, I think there's going to be a lot of buyers, man. I don't think it's as bad. And one of the positive things for Tatis was, number one, he came out right away with a statement. Now, it doesn't mean, if he didn't come out with a statement, it would look bad. If he came out with a statement, it's going to look bad. No one believes him. Me personally, I love Tatis. I don't believe a word that he's saying, in my personal opinion. And That's just
Yeah.
the way it is, right? But at least he came out
business.
right away and said something, right? Which was
Yeah.
it was. I think that was the right move. He and number two, he said he was going to challenge it, and then he decided, I'm going to man up and I'm going to take it on the chin, and I'm going to take the suspension. I think that was a good move. And then the words that he used was he was completely like devastated, right? So I think, as negative as it is, those sequence of events, how quickly he came out, saying he was devastated, all of that stuff. I think that's gonna bode well in helping people who love Tatis, want to kind of cheer him back on into the right place. So me personally, I think immediately people are panicking. People are going to drop Tatis because they think it's going to drop by like 90%. I think that the drop is right now, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as people think. Who knows? What do I know?
Right.
But that's
I just checked the pop report on Topps base, the 410.
Yeah.
20,000 PSA 10s.
Damn,
That's definitely gonna crash.
That's gonna
I
tank.
mean, if it,
it's gotta.
I mean, that thing is going down to negative $15.
Listed now if you have any.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But that's the thing, right? As much as go ahead, Clark.
Go ahead.
Say something.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is, as much as people are panicking and saying, I'm completely off Tatis, yada 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 yada, just imagine the gold out of 2019 PSA 10. I think right now it's at like $500. If it goes to 400, if it goes to 300, you don't think the three of us would be buying that thing?
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be tons. There's gonna be tons of buyers, no matter how much you think PD and Tatis is going like in the sinker. I don't think it's as bad. That's why I think when you're gonna see certain prices of the Bowman First refractors, like some of these nicer cards, I bet you it'll start getting scooped up, if not already.
Right. No, I agree with you for sure. And I agree with you, Hyung, too. Like, I think at this point you got to proceed with caution. Like everything's still in flux in terms of the price volatility. People are panic selling, but it's not as cheap as it can go still. Like in the off season, I think there'll be even more opportunities then. So I'm always keeping a Tatis on my watch list over the next several months for sure, because I still trust in his talent. I know you've said, John, about he's saying the right things, but I feel like that's very a templated response. Of course you're going to say you're devastated. This is what your agent's telling you to say too, right? So so I kind of see through it. I don't personally believe his ringworm story either. Like I feel like, and this is like another topic altogether, but steroids for regular people help you heal faster. So maybe he wanted to get to the point where he can play sooner, and then hopefully it's out of his system. Of course, that's my working theory. I have no proof, but it's unfortunate that not that he got caught. He still has to follow the rules as a professional baseball player, but it's unfortunate that we can't see him play as a fan of baseball, as a fan of his sports cards. And I think disappointed is probably the prevailing word for a lot of people. Even his teammates, Clevenger, all those guys are saying, "I'm disappointed." Right. That guy's got to grow up and things like that. So I think we're pretty much all on the same page. And he is 23, so
he's young.
He's got very young, got a promising career still ahead of him. And like you guys said, hopefully he learns from it. But I'm in the same boat, man. If it goes pretty cheap, I might have to buy a couple. So and I'm a little bit disappointed because I was hoping, with the Padres getting Soto, and I have my, Topps Chrome rookie auto card. I'm like, if it spikes, I might try to flip it and try to, get something bigger. Yeah. But I gotta wait till 2023 now at this point. So there's no chance of me doing that.
Just hold.
Yeah. Just hold. So let's end off with this before we go to our interview with Piggy Banks. But in our last episode, Hyung and I played match game, buy, sell, hold, and this was before the PED news. Brutal. So that has anything changed? The three names I sent out were Ronald Acuna Jr., Juan Soto, and Fernando Tatis Jr. And I believe we both chose to hold Tatis.
Right.
And then I think I was buying Acuna and selling Soto.
I was
and
the
I think you were
opposite.
the reverse, right?
I was buying Soto and selling Acuna.
Anything changed for you, Hyung? And then we'll let John a chance to play this game.
You're not forced to hold. It's not even.
No, I was telling Clark you earlier. I ended up selling a lot of my Tatis, at the right time, I guess. But then I do have 3 I would consider monster Tatis cards that I was planning to hold long term anyways. And so for me, it was a hold to begin with. They're super rare. I have, a couple Pop 2 and Pop 1 Tatis cards that, I'm going to enjoy. I'm ride or die with him. And for me, there's no point in selling. I'd rather just, just enjoy, his career, from now on, whatever people say. And it doesn't change for me. I'm still buy on Soto. I mean, I guess Acuna can be a buy, but right now I just think Soto is just he's gonna do some damage in San Diego. So
yeah, for me it's like now I said buy on Acuna and hold on Tatis. For me, it's whatever's cheaper I'm buying. If it's Tatis now, if he goes under Acuna prices, okay, I'm going to buy Tatis. And if Acuna goes cheaper because he's having a down year this season, then I'm still buying Acuna. How about you, John?
Yeah, I'm gonna say hold Tatis as well because you really have no other option. And I'm sure people will say you guys are idiots. It's sell all the way, and I get it. Like there's still a lot of inherent risk. As much as we want to say, I really hope Tatis grows up from this. Could he get caught again? He could get caught again. Could he break another bone in his body riding his motorcycle? Could happen again. There's still a lot of risk here, right? But if you are to completely bail on Tatis, sure, right now is whatever you can panic sell right now, that's fine. I personally think if you can hold off at the minimum, hold off until like the beginning of next season when people are like, you know what? I'm over it. The news has passed me. Let's see what Tatis can do with Soto together. I'm still kind of excited about it. I think that might be the time to kind of bail if you want to look at it that way. But otherwise, I think at this point, most of the cards a lot of people have may be almost worthless. So you might as well just hold on to it and see how Tatis's next 12 to 18 months kind of rolls out. I will say sell on Acuna. I think the way he's playing, we talked about it before, the years 1 to 3, those hype years 3 to 6, where you got to kind of, the lull years where you got to really start projecting yourself. If you continue to play kind of at a normal pace, you're going to really see your cards correct. So I think Acuna, obviously I don't think he's come back as fiercely from his injuries as people would have hoped. Fiercely in a good way, like on fire. But I think with that, seeing his performance, I could see his cards correcting a lot more. So I would say sell on Acuna. And then Soto, obviously, his prices have been as low as Soto cards could be. Obviously, it's been bumped up a bit, but I still think he's a great buy.
Okay, fair enough. All right, all this news is unfortunate, but hope we get to see Tatis get back on track in 2023 and put this behind him. All right, like we said at the top of the show, we got to interview Piggy Banks for the podcast. John, you're the first among us to be familiar with his work, and you're a big fan, right?
Big fan, yeah. Instantly caught my eye.
Yeah, it's pretty cool what he's doing in the custom card space. So, okay, without further ado, let's play that interview with Piggy Banks right now. So today we have another special guest on the podcast. You can find him at Piggy_Banks. That's BANX on Instagram. And we'll post a link to his IG page in our show notes. If you haven't seen his work yet, you got to check it out. His custom trading card designs are amazing. It ranges from artistic renditions of GOAT players and athletes, including Michael Jordan, Kobe, Ken Griffey Jr., and also pop culture icons like Notorious B.I.G., Jay-Z, and even Bill Murray, who I just saw pop up on my Instagram feed today. So without further ado, Piggy Banks, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invite.
Awesome. All right. So first, I just want to let our listeners know how you came to my attention. And it's when John, one of our podcast co-hosts, who actually wanted to be here but couldn't make it for this recording, he said, you're the first custom card designer who he legit wanted to buy some of your stuff. All right. So I had to check it out. And yeah, man, some of your designs are straight fire. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's hard out here in the streets for these card artists. You know, we got to try and win over the favor of the people.
Yeah, for sure. I should also just mention that on your IG bio, it says you're the founder of Good 2 Studios, which is an art studio and creative agency based in Newport Beach, California. So first question, just wondering, have you always been an artist by trade, or did you do something else before you got into art?
I have absolutely not been an artist by trade. I literally just had this idea like last November after just being back in the hobby and having my own opinions on it. But yeah, it was just like, we should make this like, rogue card company, and just kind of, it was a different vision to start, and it's obviously evolved since then. But more or less in January, just like got started like cutting up cards, like a lot of the card art you'll see on Instagram, and realized I hated cutting and using the X-Acto knife. So started doing digital and like printing a lot of cards. They're still all like one of one or one of three. But yeah, and then I pretty much like, I want to move faster than my abilities allowed. So that's when it started to become more of an art collective. So I have a partner now, or a couple that are contributing pretty heavily to the project. That's how you can see these amazing original art images every single day on new cards, because I mean, it's not one person can actually pump that many out. I do make them all and construct them all and slab them all and do everything by hand here in the studio. But yeah, I mean, but before all this, I mean, I primarily do technology sales though for a living, and I've been doing that for a decade. But I've always just been like a streetwear dude and like pop culture guy, like whether it is like, like Star Wars and stuff, or collecting Jordans or sports cards. Like it's always like these like niche, collectible areas that we all tend to find ourselves in. I mean, for a while there was hats. But yeah, I mean, it's all kind of culminating right now into like what you guys are seeing on Instagram.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And did you say you just really started January of this year?
January of this year. My page.
That's crazy.
I like the first post on my page is January 30th.
Okay. Wow. So
yeah,
you seem to really ramp up quickly then.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It's like, when you read about like any of these super successful, I'm not trying to compare myself, but, like when a thought just overtakes your mind, or like an idea overtakes your mind, and like you just become obsessed with it. Like I already was obsessed with sports, like just literally refreshing Bleacher Report as much as I did Instagram. And so like this just kind of overtook my entire brain, and next thing you know, it's just one thing after another, because I went to the Mint Collective pretty early on. And like the cards were well received. Like it was still super early, and so like it was even rougher than they are currently. But yeah, I mean, that was just kind of a confidence boost that kind of like rode into the next thing, because I was selling cards at the Met Collective that were printed. So it's like, you can absolutely like design cards, print them, and like people will connect with them or just appreciate them and want to own them. So
for sure.
So yeah, I mean, but it just, I don't know, maybe it's serendipitous, but things just keep happening, and it's all kind of fallen into place the last couple months.
No, that's really cool. And I know from your Instagram page, I saw, well, I didn't know it was a collective. So you and your partners, you also do large format artwork as well.
Yeah, that's correct. So yeah, I mean, we have the Allen Iverson behind me.
That's cool.
You can see one that hasn't been released in the back there. That's a 7.5 foot tall Muhammad Ali that has authentic Ali signed shorts built into it. So they all have some form of authentic Beckett or PSA certified. Actually, all these shorts are JSA, but certified memorabilia that has either been destroyed, like the Bo Jackson one, where we actually snapped that bat and then built it in, or the Allen Iverson behind me, that ball was cut in half to attach it.
I saw that one too, yeah.
So it's just part of the artistic expression, is just like destroying these things that are thought to be extremely valuable or scarce. When if you go to any card show, it's like, memorabilia is it's downright disrespected. So it's like, all right, I'll buy up the memorabilia and I'll reposition it a little bit.
No, that's a pretty neat concept. I haven't seen that I haven't seen that concept around. So that's,
and before like we ever put out a card or have an idea for a painting, it's like I do a ton of research just to make sure that it like hasn't been done, or like if I can't find it, then so be it.
right.
But yeah, because like I wanted to do this crazy Charizard painting the other day that had like a bunch of Charizard cards built into it, and then I went online, there's a ton of Charizard paintings. It's like, all right, yeah, we're not doing that.
Oh, I see.
There's plenty of that already out there, so like
Gotcha.
that's the aim, is like to make things that haven't been seen before.
Yeah, cool. Just wondering, what inspired you to get into like even more specifically the trading card formats? Like, were you a collector growing up, or is it another reason?
I mean, I definitely collect. I mean, I was a child of the junk wax era, so like
Okay.
I went back home and like looked through all my cards growing up, and it's like, oh, my dad was buying retail and like the low end product.
Right.
So unfortunately, my childhood collection wasn't full of big dollar signs, but yeah. And then I mean, during COVID, like got back into it, just like I think a lot of people did, and just started buying cards.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like one of those people that was just buying like PSA 9s, like not realizing that it's not even a close like market, especially if you're not buying like these extremely low numbered cards. So yeah, no, I mean, and even today, like I ripped a pack of Leaf cards. I really enjoy the Leaf product. I think it's underrated.
Yeah, for sure.
But whenever I find them at retail, like I will buy them, and I will rip all of them in my car in the parking lot, like I'm some sort of junkie. I swear. So yeah, so I still buy a lot of cards.
Nice.
Like, the act of opening a pack is still very nostalgic for me. But
yeah,
I mean, with the expectation that I'm probably going to give most of them away for free.
Right. Well, it's good to hear that, because myself and my two other co-hosts were all in the same boat. We grew up in the junk wax era as well, and we're addicted to ripping, so we're all in the same boat for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's illogical. Like there are no hits in retail. Like
straight up gambling, right?
Like, but when you're buying like the target packs, like it's not even gambling. Like it's like straight like
it's nothing.
There is gonna be nothing in those packs. Like
true.
I've gotten like I've probably at least a couple hundred boxes in the last 6 months that I've ripped. Like again, they blasters and hanger boxes. I've had one big hit, and it was out of a flux box, just a blaster box, and I got one of the 1 of 10 like gold cracked ice Anthony Edwards rookie cards. I was like, okay, sold it for $800, and I was like, oh, I got some of my money back, and then you know what I did?
You spend it all again.
I kept buying cards.
I totally understand. We can totally relate. You know what? From the works I've seen so far on your Instagram page, and you kind of mentioned this already, but I see you like to mix pop culture references with sports and vice versa. One example of that is how you integrated Star Wars into some of the athletes you draw. Like I just saw the Obi-Wan Kenobi card, which is essentially Juan Soto with a lightsaber and a Jedi cloak. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, no, that I just saw on that IG. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the Obi-Wan. I mean, it's funny because like I have so many sports biases. Like I'm a huge Laker Dodger guy. Yeah, I haven't made a Dodger card yet, and I somehow made a Padre card, and I'm like, what is happening? But I get in these like lanes, so like you'll see like progressions through the page where like there will be a ton of like tobacco style T206s, and there'll be a ton of comic book stuff, then a ton of Jordan or just Kobe, and like I just get in these like little grooves. But like the Dodger one hasn't really hit yet, and like it's crazy. But like mixing like the street art and like streetwear, there's very few Dodgers that like fit that mold. Like I'm thinking about like I think it'll be Mookie and like Trey will be my first ones, which are in the works. But yeah, it's been tough. But to make that Padre card of I mean, it was tough. They're still terrible though, right? Yeah. Swept them right out.
I saw that. Yeah, the didn't go as planned for the Padres. That's for sure. I can't wait to see your Mookie card. Yeah, we're big fans of Mookie on this podcast, and we think he's totally underrated. So yeah.
He's absolutely underrated. Mm-hmm. He's gonna break his home run or his single season home run record, or his own personal one. But yeah. I mean, it's just you get lost in the mix on the Dodger roster because it's just like
it seems stacked and everything else like that, right?
Yeah. I think Bellinger hits 9.
That's pretty insane. That's nuts. Yeah, for sure. Just curious, where do you Like, I know you just said you kind of get into these lanes, but typically where do you draw your inspiration from when you try to mix these like pop culture references and the different athletes together?
Honestly, they just like, it's hard to say. I mean, it can literally be anything, anywhere. Like, it's just like seeing an image or seeing a product on a shelf or whatever it is. Like, again, like this, like the Jordan, but it's a comic book cover, so it's Amazing Adventures of Michael Jordan. I mean, it's just like it easy pivot right there. I mean, why not? Because like what I'm trying to do is not really go after like the hobby necessarily, because like it's, as soon as you say card art or whatever, like everyone wants to put you in this box, right? Whereas like Good 2 Studios is actually a creative agency that our main medium is sports cards, because there's so many other ways of utilizing sports cards. It's the most beautiful medium in the entire world because they're so small, and like even somebody like myself with a very minimal art background, like I can make them. And like with the help of others, like especially illustrators, just to help, because like you don't want to be using images off the internet. There's just so many copyrights, especially on photography. Like photographers are ones that do almost copyright everything. So so that's why they're all just like these hand-drawn ones that then I can lay out onto a card. So it's like, I want a Jordan like this, with this facial expression, put the chain on him, and then I have that base image, and then I can then go design a few cards or however I want to present it. So so I mean, it's but the key is that you really want to at least be trying to go capture at least one other audience with most cards, because it's a sports card. So like, hopefully somebody from the hobby does buy it, because like I need that support early on.
Right.
But like, oh wait, he's got Jordans on and it's Mandalorian. Okay, now like a Star Wars fan that doesn't collect sports cards or maybe even Star Wars cards yet is like, wait, I need that card, because I'm so like, it's trying to go after, like, same with the Juan Soto card. It's like, obviously we're going after the baseball card collectors, but at the same time, there's way more Star Wars fans out there than there.
True.
So it's just like, why not? So that, but that's also why a lot of the cards, like in the past couple months, like almost every one that's pop culture revolves around sneakers, just because like I think sneakerheads are the most logical next market to go after. So like, again, Vader, I don't know if you know the stigma on black Air Force Ones or not, but like it's just a great card there. And then like same with the Jump Mandalorian.
I love that one.
But you got like because when I had it drawn originally, it came back and it was just Mandalorian Jumpman. I was like, oh, we gotta put the AJ1 shoes on him, and like let's so we make some like touches, because it's just these small things that are what bring more appeal. And I don't know. I guess where I got that inspiration from in regards to like the small touches is it's actually one of the Ja Morant rookie cards, the one that has the wrapper in the background sitting in the front row.
Oh yeah.
But like, it's these weird cards that have like something different in the background, or something that didn't get seen, or like some other little Easter egg in the background that end up like being in the most like sought after or whatever. So like that's why all the cards, like I want people to buy them, because they are still expensive. They're very expensive actually, because they're all, I mean, I only will make like a max of probably 5 of any image. Like Jump Mandalorian went crazy, so like yes, I'm at like I think 7 or 8 on that, but like I really try and keep it under, I guess once it keeps growing under 10, just because of likeness or whatever, or until we actually do official projects. But but yeah, so it's
that's
I mean, again, it's constantly evolving, man. But yeah, that jaw card was like, oh yeah, like all these small touches are where it's at, and like that's when somebody buys one, it's like I want them to notice something different every single time. And they're all handmade, so like they are not perfect by any means. Like you'll see paper not line up, or you'll see edge or whatever, but they're all graded good too. So like the grading's accurate. I think the grading's actually, I think I'm getting hosed a little bit on the grading on some of these cards. I mean, they're beautiful, but everything will always be graded a good 2.
Okay. That's interesting to hear you say that. Like, and it sounds like you have a lot of freedom in terms of where you want to go, what direction you want to take it in terms of the artwork itself. Just going to the like the look of some of the cards, like the actual material that you use. Like I like the ones that are like the atomic refractor look or the cracked ice parallel. Can you tell us how you create that look? Is there like what materials you use to do that?
It's really about just sourcing the right materials. Like the refractor stuff is actually a base material that I'll print directly onto. Whereas like the cracked ice is actually an overlay that once you print the image, So there's just like a lot of, it's really about your base material, because there's a lot of different base materials. There's a lot of different paper qualities and weights.
Right.
And so like when I want to do like, say, a cracked ice card, like I'll normally choose like the highest end like photo paper I can find, like the highest gloss, just like the highest resolution image, because I'm going to do an overlay over it. So I'll take these like clear holographic overlays, and I'll take a more or less like a roller like this.
Okay.
And I'll roll this overlay over it. And so the reason you want like a really good paper underneath is because that overlay is going to distort the image a little bit. And like, it's honestly, I've never received a perfect piece of overlay paper, like ever, out of anything I've ever ordered. So like, there's always going to be like a bubble or two, which is, again, they're all handmade. So like, that's part of the draw of it. Like even when this scales,
unique.
When it becomes big, there will always be hand done touches on every card. And like, they will like, that is, it will no like mass printing. I will never mass print. Like if somebody wants to mass print one of my images, sure, I'll take the licensing fee, but like, I do not want to do that. I want to be able to like, cool idea today, make the card today, release it today. Like kind of really like an agile, very nimble approach to it. But yeah, so do the overlay, but like the refractor, that's just a base material paper that I print directly onto.
Interesting.
But like
I know you use like canvas as well. Is there like a material you like to particularly use for any of your canvas?
So the canvas doesn't come through in my videos, so like people never want the canvas ones, but the canvas ones are by far the best cards. Like these things in hand, they're like so perfect. Nice. And they're just like so grainy, and they have like this really, really cool texture to it. And it just like feels, it really bridges that like streetwear, like sneaker gap.
For sure. Yeah.
But everyone always wants cracked ice.
Like me, I'm guilty.
They want wraps, they want cracked ice, or they want the refractors. Like it is so hard. Like, but then
just
there
like the
are
shiny
like
stuff. Yeah.
The people that I like really want to like take care of the most are the ones that like hit me up about the era aged cards, which are like that base material is like a cardstock. So cardstock is a little bit more porous, and so it'll kind of like the ink will kind of like seep more. So it's not a very like sharp image. So it kind of gives it a little edge. But then I'll soak those and like really start like wrinkling them up and like give them that texture in there. But yeah, so I personally like anyone that orders canvas cards or era aged cards. Those are my favorite people because like they're just the best. I love those two styles.
All right, good stuff. I think you already answered this question, when you were saying like you would never want to get into mass production, but like, have you heard of the Topps project cards? Just wanted to see if you got any opinion on those.
Yeah, I mean, I was just at the National, and like I would say like the best connection is just like one of the greatest like outcomes of it was like meeting a lot of the artists that are on these projects. So like I was able to like Blake Jameson for a long time, like just great dude, but like able to like actually talk to him about his work. So and like Chuck Styles as well, we got to chat for a long while too, and it's just that was one of my favorite parts. I actually came back with like a stack of like art cards and other Topps project cards. Nice. But yeah, I mean, my opinion on it is that should be that should be Topps's flagship product, and those cards should make it into big sets. So
yeah, I agree.
That's my short answer for. Again, there's a reason I started a rogue sports card creative agency that's focused on bringing a really good collector experience and customer experience, but two, just I think that it's just important to like how do I put this correctly? I think it's just constantly adapting and like constantly like tweaking things to make people want to continue to like. Again, I think that they just miss a lot of opportunities on, especially like packaging when it comes to like these $2,000, $4,000, $10,000 boxes. Like, I think that, or even on the low end, like the packaging should technically probably like have some sort of feature that maybe like holds the hits too. Like, why do you want them to throw the box on the ground? Like, why not make the box interesting enough to like keep in the background of videos? So there's a lot of areas that I think are easily addressed, or at least like. I think people will want to have or see.
No, I totally agree. Actually, that was my next question. Like what I think should happen, I was going to say, is that trading card companies starting with Fanatics, which now owns Topps, of course. They should possibly hire more artists to design some of their sets and even work, with different materials than just cardboard or the chromium look, and obviously you like that idea, but, because we always complain every time there's a new set that comes out, the flagship, like the designs are meh, and some of the
it's stock photo in front of the background. And the funny part is that like even one of ones, one of tens, one of fives, like it's the same player image as the actual base one. So like it's like this false scarcity that's like, but it's the blue pulsar laser. It's like, no wonder nobody else wants to come to these shows because we're talking like this. Like, it's just I think there's a different lane because like I'm trying to, and you'll see some projects soon that I can't talk about yet, but partnering with not those companies you'd expect to, but record labels and with other artists and other areas. Because if somebody wants to make their own sports cards right now, or like say you're a celebrity and you wanted to have your own line of sports cards, like you go to Topps or Panini, like it will take 3 years for them to put it through their meetings and like get the approvals, and then they'll make this corny
red tape
basic set that like ends up just being a bunch of like the chases. It's always an autograph. Like, yeah, it's because somebody's hand had to touch the card is why that's valuable. Like all of ours will be made by hand and we will always sign our cards. But it's just like crazy that like that's what it is. Like, oh, but Steph Curry touched this one. It's like, that's fantastic. But like, what else about that card do you like?
Right.
It's hard. Yeah. It's hard. I don't know.
So much more can be done for sure.
I'm very opinionated on
on
the customer experience from what I sometimes call big wax.
Yeah. Are you hopeful? This is like a side question. I didn't have a plan, but like with Fanatics taking over, are they just like another big corporation, you think, or you think they're going to actually start to change the hobby for the better?
I mean, I think that early on it's going to be status quo because of a profit margin, and you obviously pay the big money for the licenses and acquire Topps to like, show a return on investment. I think that that's why that my lane's going to work, is because I'm not focused on the money at all. And like all the artists that are like contributing are all getting paid, and I'm kicking it out. And like every time I sell cards, like I'm buying nicer printer. Like it's just, I think that the big companies, they're behemoths, it's too hard to change too quickly. It's what I thought the Zero Cool project would be more geared, like closer.
Right.
But you're still seeing it. It's like the projects still take a long time, and it's still this big corporate like thing and charade. It's like, no, if where is this card? But if Tom Brady unretires today, I want to have a Tom Brady unretired magazine cover card out in the hands.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to make new stuff every day, but there's only going to be like 5 or 10 of them, and they're all going to be one-on-ones because the card company gave me very favorable rules to work with in regards to this one-on-one rule. And so it's like, there's a cracked ice one, there's a mosaic one, there's a disco one, there's a holographic one, there's a refractor one, but again, I normally cap myself at 5, but like, do you really want me to change the border color and like the title color?
Right.
Like, I can keep going. So like, but they'll all be handmade, and they will always be significantly more scarce than anything you can buy from, something that comes. But I'm excited for you guys to start seeing the cut. Like, so everything isn't custom packaging necessarily yet. So like, I think you'll start to see a lot more of the mashup I'm trying to do with all these different genres when you start to see the packaging.
Yeah, can't wait to actually see that. Just going back to your work too. I'm sure many of our listeners are curious. Like right now, I know you just got started, but can you say how much do your works typically go for? Is there a large range, or is it on an auction, or how's it work?
I think so it's constantly evolving. So like, but there has been this standardized pricing model that I've stuck to for like the last 3 months. And I think it needs to evolve, because I do think that the price point eventually needs to come down a little bit just to like be more inclusive, because all the 101s are 200 and all the 103s are 150, and it's flat pricing. It doesn't matter what the image is. They'll all come in like the nicest possible packaging. Like this is like right now, again, like until I get my own, like if you order 3 cards, like they will come like in a nice case, like, and they'll come in, velvet bags, and like I'm trying to do as much as possible, but like I want it to constantly evolve, because I think it's also really cool because it kind of era dates things. Because like if you bought a card from me at the Mint Collective, like you probably have a card that has a blue or like white back on it, that like there's probably like 10 or 20 of like those Macs out there. And like, so now my new back, like, yeah, this one, there's probably a couple, few hundred out there. But like, as soon as I change the back again, it's like, oh gosh, you have one like, because the project will keep evolving like that. So like the earlier you're buying these cards, like, again, you're not supposed to buy these as an investment, and there is no resale market for these at all. But I do think in time, as I start to put more pieces and you guys start to see more, they will inherently become more valuable, because like you just, I guess, wait and see. But
I can definitely see things going down that road, you know, like honestly, even with custom cards, that whole niche in itself, like I'm personally seeing more and more Instagram accounts with, you know, custom card designers. Like it's almost like they're trying to fill a void in what the current trading card market is missing. Right. So
I agree. And I think that's, I mean, again, like I am this artist now that like, yeah, like it's hard for me to necessarily say, because like 9 months ago I just couldn't have said it, but like I'm clearly, you know, have figured it out. But like the key, like I think that, and what I've told all these other artists too, because like I want any and all artists to like contribute to this project. Like this is supposed to be a bunch of artists, like a collective, like putting this together. But like the thing is that like at the end of the day, you just gotta like have this team, and like you have to kind of be selfless early on to like build, you know, the platform. But like later on, like hopefully that is, because like I envision like having like a real studio space like somewhere here in California probably, where like the athletes can come and sit down with the actual designers and design their own cards, like signature shoes. Like
that'd be awesome.
Because like even the, you know, the athlete specific, you know, deals that are out there, like the other card deals, I mean, it's still just one image or two images, but like, because like when I do an image, like I don't know if you've seen on my Instagram page, like I made that set for Ed Reed for the Mint, or not for the Mint, for National. Yeah. Like even that, where it's just a whim, like 2 weeks before the National, or Chris from Rip and Wax, I mean, it was like, you should, you know, put this set together. You know, I'm setting this up. We'll sit down. We'll break this box. And I was like, done, great. But like even Ed Reed gets 6 different cards, including a chain card with different designs. And styles. Like, why wouldn't you, like, you know? So yeah, we'll see. That's the surprising part. Like the one surprising thing, although I've gotten a couple recently, no real like athlete direct reach outs yet. I feel like the page has grown pretty quickly, but I just, you know, I thought maybe even like a C or D list athlete direct, but that's been the one miss. But you know, we'll see.
No, that's interesting to hear. Yeah, you would think they would reach out, but maybe in time.
maybe in time. Surely in time, actually.
Hopefully, hopefully. And that, you know, that's why even for us, a podcast that talks about regular traditional trading cards, like it was good to reach out to you, and I'm glad you were able to sit down with us. Just a question: what's the best way people that want to check out your work and are interested in buying? Like I actually was surprised at your pricing. I think that's really, really reasonable for you know what I think in terms of the quality of your work. But yeah,
it's a really poor, and like it's funny because I preach about customer and collector experience the entire time, and like I haven't put up the website for my customers and collectors to like have a good experience, because my order process right now is so like clunky and sticky, and it's like the opposite. But it does allow me to at least build rapport with a lot of my collectors and customers right now, where they do have to reach out direct to order in my DMs and like take screenshots of my own page about cards they like. But yeah, for anyone to reach out to me, I mean, it's obviously Piggy Banks on Instagram. That's with an X. And then just DM me and just be prepared to like just describe either the title of the card or send me a screenshot of the card, and I'll put the orders together.
Yeah. No. We'll definitely post a link on our show notes as well, and they can reach out to you through there as well. So yeah. Thanks for sitting down with us. I do have, before I let you go, if it's okay, give you kind of few rapid fire questions. We like to do that with all our guests.
I love it. Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. So first, favorite traditional trading card you currently own?
That's a really good question. Traditional trading card. I mean, I have all the shortstop rookies pretty much from my generation. So it was Jeter, Nomar, and A-Rod. But they're all like literally the worst ones. Like the lowest It's crazy. I was so proud of these cards too growing up, but
Right.
I guess honestly nowadays, like, because when I do get hits out of retail, I'll take them to these card shows and I'll just trade like 10 or 20 for Kobe rookies.
Okay.
So probably one of my tops Kobe rookies would be my favorite.
Okay. Nice. Good choice. All right, too. I love your Mount Rushmore basketball card. I think that's probably my favorite. How did you decide who went on it?
It's nearly. It was an impossible task. I mean,
I like the choices. I like them.
It's just there's no right answer. I mean, because I've been trying to make the baseball one right now, and
okay,
who do you even start with? Because like if it's Griffey and Hank Aaron, is it Bonds? Is it Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle? Like this card would be 12 feet long if you did baseball. So it was the same with the football one. Was a huge issue because it was like you have Peyton, Tom, and Aaron, and the other one has Mahomes, Herbert, and Burrow. But that was strictly because I thought half my followers would want one of them and half would want the other one.
Right. Okay.
But for the most part, everyone just bought them together. But
okay.
I'm gonna remake it. I can remake it and put a different face on there too.
Okay, fair. Just for the listeners, you put on LeBron, MJ, Steph, and I can't remember the fourth one. Who was that? Kobe, of course, Kobe.
Of course, Kobe.
All right. Is there a personal card you designed that you like best, or is at least in the top 3 for you?
It changes all the time. So I mean, I guess like the one I'm most proud of is that Tom Brady unretired one, just because it is an aspect that I do want to get back to eventually, where it is real-time sports reporting, but through sports cards, almost like this magazine style approach to it. So probably the Tom Brady unretired, because that was probably like the first like actually successful card where like I actually sold multiple of it.
Okay, nice. All right. For one reason or another, most of our podcast subscribers are from Seattle. So shout out to our Seattle listeners out there. So I wanted to ask you about your Ken Griffey Jr. card with him wearing the Mariners uniform, blowing what looks like a Supreme branded bubblegum, and of course with the Space Needle in the background. What was your inspiration behind that card?
Well, so I had the Griffey, like I had the idea for the Griffey one first. And it was like, let's just, because like the bubble image is so iconic. All the card artists have done it. I was like, we can't be a bubble there. So like, I had to think. So it was like pool floaty or beach ball. So it became a Supreme ball. Supreme again. We're trying to go grab another audience, hopefully, and like bring that to sports cards. And then the background is the Mickey Mantle 51 rookie, which is I think the better mantle. I personally like the 51 more from a what are they calling it nowadays? Visual appeal.
Okay.
So it's the 51 mantle backgrounds with the Space Needle, and then Griffey blowing a Supreme beach ball up. I don't know. It's random. But I mean, and then this one, so the Griffey one took probably like, I don't know, 5-6 hours to design. This one took like 2 days to design, and it's like everyone loves the simple ones.
Yeah, no,
everyone
loves
the simple ones.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I've found with like the traditional cards too, is that all their all the borderless cards with the chase cards. Color Blast, Boom, Blank Slate. I mean, it's the ones without the borders. That's so like I've been trying to do more and more cards without borders, because for some reason people really like them way more than the other ones. Right. But it's the same with like the mangas recently. You guys illustrated an image of a player. Like people love that. Do that more. No, just that one left.
Jeez, I wonder if they'll ever learn.
No, I'm sorry. I again, it's just a it's what's fueling us over here.
Okay. Last question, because we're actually based out of Canada, we like to ask our guests, do you have a favorite Canadian sports team or athlete or celebrity? I know you're into pop culture, so I'll leave that open-ended for you.
Oh man, Canadian. It's gonna be tough. I mean, I feel like I've always loved Sidney Crosby, but
nice. Okay.
Is he even a Canadian?
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
he's Canadian
from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Yeah.
I don't know, because the thing is, I had this like really short but like really great period of really loving hockey. Because in college I lived with a couple of guys from the hockey team at ASU. And so, we played a lot of Chell. I'm still very good at NHL, but yeah. And so like for those few years, huge Capitals fan. So I'm a big Ovechkin, like Capitals fan, but like the only like truly like hockey person growing up was Crosby. So, I mean, I'd have to go with that.
Yeah, good choice. Huge fans of Crosby. Captain Canada, for sure.
I regret to say that I guess I need to pay more attention to our neighbors up north, because you almost like kind of stumped me on that. I was like, oh my God.
You know what? It's one of those things where when people start listing Canadians, you're like, oh, wow, they're Canadian? You know what I mean? Like,
oh, there's probably a ton of them. Like, isn't like Bieber or
Justin Bieber, yeah.
Bichette?
Bichette, yeah. He's actually, he might be American. He plays for the Jays, though. Yeah, he plays for our home team.
The tough part about that was that you just don't want to say one that's fringe, and then you're like, that guy's not even Canadian.
Right.
You know? And then I feel like I just went right with that with Crosby. It's like, oh God.
No, we're big fans of Crosby, so that's a good choice too. Yeah, that's all we got. Again, you can find him at Piggy_Banks, BANX on Instagram. Again, we're glad that you stopped by today to talk about some of your works, and we definitely look forward to seeing more of what you're up to on Instagram.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me, and stay in touch.
Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.